Hey everybody, welcome to the Real United States, and thanks for joining me. I assume it was the title of the video that brought you here. This is another health update. I haven't done one in a while, and it's not because there hasn't been anything going on. It's because I've gotten sick of whining about my health and just said screw it and just went on about life. But I know that some of you are interested in what is going on with me. And also, some of you that are new perhaps came here because of the keywords of the title to learn something that will help you deal with your health issues, perhaps related to cancer or radiation or whatever. So welcome if you're here because of that. I appreciate you being here. Now, I need to talk about something that's a little awkward for me, but I want to say, first of all, I want to give a shout out. I want to say hi to my longtime friend, Richard Frachowski, who I've known for about half a century, and I still can't pronounce the poor man's last name. So, Rich, I'm sorry about that, but even if I could with this obturator, I probably couldn't get it out right. But I love you anyway, buddy. Richard sent me put out a link recently about antibiotics and how they affect the natural flora, the natural bacteria in your gut. And if I can find that article, which I thought was pretty interesting, I read the whole thing, by the way, Rich. I'm going to put it in the comment section down below. So if there should be a thing down there if I can find it. When I went through all this, obviously they cut my whole face open from here to here, and they laid my face back, and they had me open to the world. So obviously I had to take some antibiotics, all kinds of stuff, pretty heavy duty stuff. And after the fact, I remember that during my radiation I had to take some antibiotics at one point because it weakens your immune system. And then, of course, I had to take some very strong painkillers, relatively large doses of very potent painkillers while I was getting the radiation because, well, it's painful. I mean, it's pretty unpleasant. Well, this combination of factors killed a lot of the natural bacteria in my gut. And you need that for the digestion of what you eat. Now, it's not near so important on the high end, okay? You're still going to be able to digest food with, stomach acids and a variety of enzymes. Pepsin and erypsin, I think, is the other one. All these things that break down proteins. Yeah, you can still digest food and take nourishment, and that's good. The problem is that you need to process all this material afterwards into fecal material to pass it out. And therein is where the problem lies, especially with the painkillers, is that it stops that. And so you end up with horrible constipation. And I hope I don't get demonetized for that word, but it's a medical thing. And so to cope with this, you seek medical advice, and basically you start. There's two things you have to deal with. One is a stool softener, or just so you don't tear your guts out, because boy howdy you will, and a laxative because you want to keep things moving in the right direction. So you want to move in the right direction, and then when they get there, you want them soft enough to be able to pass. So you're going to deal with those, and you're probably going to deal with those for a long time. It's been on 14 months, and I still am. And diligence is important. Don't forget to take your medicine, because otherwise you're going to be sick, and you're not going to really know why. You're going to feel punky, you feel drained and worn down. You're going, well, what's wrong? And then it occurs to you that you haven't used the toilet in 2 or 3 days. It's very, very drags you down, very debilitating in a slow decay kind of way. And although I haven't had the problem yet, folks, I can tell you, be careful, because if it gets bad enough, you will have to go to a specialist a proctologist, for a manual extraction. And it's just like it sounds. They got a device that they put into the end of your colon and crank it open and go in and manually pull everything out. I haven't had to have that, thank God, because it seems like it would be unpleasant at best and painful, and expensive. So yes, it's a very serious problem. I don't know that the radiation itself contributed to this problem. I think I'm more inclined to believe that it was a broad spectrum antibiotics that they gave me while I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And because I started having the problem then with being bound up, and it has continued ever since. So it's something you need to be aware of if you're going for cancer treatment, that after the surgery they're going to put you on these antibiotics, and after, if you take radiation, they're going to, and I have no idea what chemo does to your gut. I really don't. Now, please don't give me comments about probiotics, because there are some risk factors with the consumption of probiotics. I'm not a physician, I'm not a biochemist. I can't say for sure that what the risk factor is, but I do know there is a risk factor with taking probiotics. So you don't need to leave me 40 comments about, hey, well, I'll just take some probiotics, you're fine, because it ain't true. Diet is important. Certainly getting bacteria back into your system, cultures, sour cream, buttermilk, cottage cheese, yogurt, things that, blue cheese, if you got the stomach for it. I love gorgonzola personally. But trying to get natural bacteria, fungus, things back into your body to culture them. There are some pretty unpleasant sounding ways you can go about this that I'm not going to discuss on camera, but are alluded to in the article I mentioned earlier. And they basically involve saving a stool sample from before you receive the antibiotics. So you can read up about that. It doesn't sound pleasant. But what you got to do, what you got to do. So this has been a real problem for me, and it's been a painful problem to deal with that I have not discussed up to now because, well, it's kind of an unpleasant topic. Not that cancer is a pleasant topic to start with, but it's an uncomfortable and sensitive issue, and so I haven't discussed it. But it is a serious fallout that I have had to deal with, and I'm sure many other people who have been through these sorts of treatments for cancer and other serious ailments that involve lots of antibiotics have had to deal with this. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not anti-antibiotics. Antibiotics are a great thing. They keep you alive. They keep you from being sick. I'm not anti-antibiotics. I love antibiotics. They're a great thing. But there are consequences. You have to weigh the risks of, the effects, the side effects, against the effects of not taking it and infections and diseases. So, in my case, I really had to have them because I didn't want my face to rot off. I didn't want to die from some horrible infection. And infection was a very real possibility since the, inside of my mouth was exposed. It's one of the most hostile environments in your entire body is inside your mouth. I'm sure you know that. So you got all this surgery going on. You don't want to get an infection up, in above where your palate used to be. This is not something you want to get an infection in, right under your eye or anything. You want antibiotics and you'll deal with the problems, but, be aware it's going to happen to you, or it can. So, anyway, that is the most recent update would be. I will be going in the beginning of November to have surgery to my googly eye. I think I mentioned that in another episode maybe. And hopefully they're going to at least pull this lower eyelid up, make it look, I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything about this edema, which is, if you're wondering what that is, that's interstitial fluid buildup. It's lymph that is built up in the tissue, between the tissues under my eye. So I don't know if they can do anything about that when he's in there trying to bring up that, but he's going to try, because I can't really close that eye hardly. So that's what's going on with me. And then a week later, I go back to be checked up, and we'll see if I look any better after that. So that's the update, folks. I appreciate you supporting me through this whole travesty, and I think I'm getting better. They finally gave me something to deal with the constant pain, and it seems to be working. That's another thing I haven't complained too much about, but this whole side of my head has been in pain 24/7 for 14 months. And so I recently received a new prescription, which is not narcotic, and seems to be relieving some of that. And so we'll see. You have to build up with it. Hopefully that will alleviate some of my pain. So that's what's going on with me, folks. Thank you so much. Got questions, comments, why don't you just say hi, whatever, down in the comments section. I love hearing from all of you. I really do. Try to get back to everybody can. That's going to become increasingly harder as we get more and more subs and the community continues to grow, but I'm going to continue to try. If you're new here, subscribe, join the community, come along for the adventure, because we got lots more to show you that's not involved in my health. And we certainly would appreciate having you come along. So, as always, everybody, thank you for watching.